Everybody, can you hear
Good
me?
morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good to see you again. In my last two interactions, I was talking to you on leadership, followed by that team building process, qualities of effective and ineffective teams. In this class, I will be taking you towards another important issue related to people management, either as a leader or as a teacher, that is conflict resolution. You will be knowing man is the most dynamic entity on the earth. You cannot predict how an individual thinks at a particular point of time. And more particularly, there is no right way or wrong way of thinking. Every individual thinks in his own capacity based on his ability to interpret the things. As such, wherever there are more than two persons living together, working together, it's quite natural that they will have differences of opinions. And having differences of opinion itself is a healthy issue in the society. If there are differences, there is scope for discussion. When we discuss, we will come out with something new. Same is the case for a leader in a team when he has to direct the people towards achieving an objective. Quite natural that there may be differences about the purpose for which we are working, the means that is used, the people that are involved. People may come out with opposition. When the opposition arises, it must be sorted out as and when it comes. If it is allowed to become big, that will spoil the relationship and the group activities. Same is the case with the teachers. As teachers, when we are interacting with young minds, remember, as a single person, we are talking to a group of 80 or a group of 100 youngsters. All of them will think in their own way because the background from which they have come, the exposure that they had, and the capacity to understand makes them to behave, makes them to think in their own way. They may come out with logical, illogical objections, questions, things like that. And in addition to that, when you make them to be in a group for achieving a particular purpose, say for instance, if you give a small team assignment, a group assignment, students will come and say, sir, you have put me into a group where all of them are strangers to me. I don't know anybody there. Change the group. In the initial days of commencing a class, HODs and the principals normally face the problem of bifurcating the sections. Students will come and say, you put me into a section where I don't know anybody. All of them are strangers to me. Kindly help me to be in the group that I want. Likewise, when you give an assignment for them, they may not find comfortable to be with the members allotted. They may come out with objections, queries, disturbances, things like that. In one word, what I want to say is, wherever there are people, differences of opinion will arise. Let it be between the classmates, let it be between student and the teacher, let it be between the colleagues in an institution. It is the responsibility of the teacher concerned to clarify those confusions and make them to work together. In that context, handling conflicts, dealing with the conflicts is an inseparable responsibility of the leader. Remember, about 60% of any leader's job involves solving conflicts, solving crisis, convincing people. 60% of the time goes for handling misunderstandings, disputes, quarrel, conflicts for an officer, for a leader, or even for a teacher for that matter. Why it happens? What are the reasons for this? Even in the society, you can see every day there are conflicting viewpoints, conflicting opinions among the people that leads to bigger disturbances later. Unless the small problems are sorted out in the beginning, we have to encounter later on a bigger crisis that may be destructive to our existence, our collaborations, and our living as a whole. Keeping that in mind, I'm taking conflict resolution as a topic for discussion today. I remember in my last interaction, somebody said, are we allowed to interact if there are any queries on the topics that we have discussed, even in the next session? Quickly, if you have any queries related to whatever interaction we had either two, you can put questions. Otherwise, I will take you to the new topic, conflicts and conflict resolution. What shall we do? Shall I go to the topic directly? Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
If there are no questions, or even now, if you have questions, you can pose questions at any point. I will take you to a new topic, that is conflicts and conflict resolution. You will be knowing what are conflicts. I told you in the process of group formation that there are 5 stages, starting with formation, stormation, normation, performing, and adjourning. The first stage in the process of team formation is forming. In the forming stage, strangers who are not known to each other will become known to each other by collecting information, by knowing about each other. After knowing each other, a situation will arise where you like something and dislike something. That disliking leads to a storm. Storm is a disturbance. Storm is something like a wild wind that causes unrest in our relations. That disturbance must be handled properly. If the difference of opinion arises are not addressed at the right time, that will lead to further quarreling, confusions, hatredness, things like that. Therefore, when you noticed something like difference of opinion, something like disputing viewpoints, that must be addressed at the earliest. Therefore, even in the process of group formation, or even in life and every walks of our day-to-day activities, we will encounter differences of opinion among the people. Just for the sake of making you to think about an incident, I'm showing a picture for you. Just look at this picture. Can you give a caption for this? Can you describe the relationship between these 2 persons?
Couple, sir.
Couple.
Sir, there is an ego clash.
Pardon me?
Ego clash.
There is an ego clash. Wonderful. See, without mentioning anything, any word about the picture, you got to know that there is some relationship between them. The relation you gave is they are couple, and then there is an ego clash. Anything more than that?
Sir, these two persons are unknown persons each other.
They are unknown persons, opposite to couple.
Maybe in the different attitude, sir.
Pardon me?
Different in attitude.
Attitude.
They quarrel with each other.
Come on.
Sir, they might be
disinterest.
strangers also.
This is
Disinterest.
disinterest in each other, not interested to talk to the other person. This
Sir.
is natural. Okay.
Sir, they might be strangers sitting opposite, sitting randomly.
Do you think strangers will sit like this? Is it the normal posture of of two people who are strangers to each other? No.
Sir.
Please, madam, please.
ಸರ್ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರಿಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ವೈಮನಸ್ಸಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಒಬ್ರನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಪರಸ್ಪರ ಅವ್ರ ಆ ವಿಚಾರದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಪ್ಪಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Wonderful, wonderful. See, ವೈಮನಸ್ಸು ಒಪ್ಪಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲದಿರುವುದು, difference of opinion, not agreeing with something of interest for each other, or having a negative opinion about the interest of the other person. Negative interest about the opinion of other person, not having consensus, or disliking of the other person's choice can be the reason for these two people to sit like that. This is a normal thing that happens anywhere and everywhere. Even in my last interaction, I said, where there are two individuals living together, at one point or the other, they encounter a situation that leads to difference of opinion. Difference of opinion must happen between two healthy minds. If both the minds are healthy, if both the minds are lively, there must be a situation wherein they dislike, they say no, disagree with the proposals of other person. It's a normal tendency, but that must be addressed at the earliest. Opposing somebody's view is not bad. There is no rule that everything must be acceptable to everybody. It's quite natural that our likes, dislikes, expectations, emotions, priorities may vary. In a situation where there are people from different walks of life, it will happen automatically. It is the responsibility of the leader or the person who is responsible to handle them to understand the reason for this and to sort it out as early as possible. Otherwise, that leads to further complications, bigger challenges, quarrels. You will be knowing wars are not fought between two countries. Wars are not fought between two countries. They are between two minds. If these minds are understood properly and directed properly, wars can be avoided. But today, there are 100 reasons for people to have difference of opinion with the other person. There are 100 reasons to hate, dislike. That leads to disturbance, not only between two individuals. Two individuals' disturbance may lead to disturbance to the society, to the community, to the living beings on the earth. In that context, we need to understand what are these differences, why differences comes, what are the solutions for sorting out these differences. In that context, we need to understand the meaning of conflict. What is conflict? Conflict is an integral part of organizational life. I'm telling, Conflict is an integral part of organizational life. Organizational life means two persons, minimum two persons living together. A family is an organization, a classroom is an organization, a community, an association, a club is an organization. Wherever there are two persons together, invariably conflicts will happen. People will quarrel, people will have difference of opinion. It's not a sin. It's not a sin. Why people have conflict? I made a mention. If two persons are living together for a long time, they must have a conflict at one point or the other. If they say no, that is an indication that either of them is not alive. ಎರಡು ಸತ್ತ ಮನಸ್ಥಿತಿಯುಳ್ಳ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಗೊಂದಲಗಳು ಬರದೇ ಇರಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಎರಡು ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸುಗಳು ಸಂಪರ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಸ್ವಾಭಾವಿಕವಾಗಿ it's quite natural that they will have differences of opinion. Why these differences of opinion will arise? These differences of opinion will occur because of perceived or experienced difference. The difference that you are perceiving may be as perceived by you. The difference is because of your perception, your experience of a substantiative or an emotional issue. The difference may be because of a substantiative or an emotional issue. Most of the time, our differences are because of the way in which we understood it, the way we understood this issue. And the issue may be substantiative. Substantiative means real, natural, or emotional. It could be a practical, real issue or just an emotional issue. These emotional and real issues will be experienced differently by different individuals and perceived differently by different individuals. As a result of that, naturally, they are going to have difference of opinion about it at all. See, as teachers, we teach how to live, we teach how to talk, we teach how to write. Have we ever taught anybody as to how to quarrel? Did we taught anybody how to blame others, how to hate others, how to criticize others? It was never a part of our teaching. None of our teachers also taught us these things, but we are good in quarreling. We are good in hating, good in disliking people. Why it happens? I don't know whether I have told this story to you in my earlier classes or not. I tell you an incident. If it is a repetition, remind me. Many a time I interact with many sessions, As a result, I don't know whether I have shared this with you. It was in a Gurukula. You know what is a Gurukula? It was in a Gurukula. One day, a group of students went to their teacher and said, "Sir, you told us that you have taught us everything." During those days, people used to say that all 64 types of talent, something like that. 64 types of skills and something like that. "Sir, you told us you have taught all the 64 skills. But today, we had been to the nearby city, nearby town. We noticed a performance which was so wonderful, and we realized that you have never taught that to us." The teacher got confused. The teacher asked, "What is that? What is that performance?" Student said, "Sir, we don't know what is its name. Yesterday we had been to the nearby town. The performance was on. It was so interesting to see, very practical, enjoyable. Teacher said, you do one thing, you show me that, then I will tell you whether I taught you or not. Next day morning, those students took the teacher to the nearby town. They were moving from street to street. At one point, they stopped. Sir, look at that. This is the performance what we said. What is that performance? Two neighbors are quarreling. Just recall a quarrel between two neighbors for simple, silly issues like parking issues, throwing the dust, the waste, issues like noise, making some noise, something like that. For small and silly issues, neighbors will quarrel each other. During that quarrel, the type of language that is used, body language, forget about the sound, the body language, accuracy in terms of the voice and the expressions, modulations, no art director, no language professor might have taught that so effectively. The teacher, after looking this, said, yes, I have not taught you this because it was not in the syllabus. Let's go back to Gurukula, I will teach you this. Next day, on the same day, he took them to the Gurukula back. He called one of the students. He took him towards a small stone in the field in front of the Gurukula. Asked the first person, you go and stand on this stone. I mean, a rock, a slab, slab. You go and stand on this rock. You go and stand on this stone. He called one more person. You come here. When he is standing on the stone, you go and ask him to get down. The first person, remember, when the second person comes and asks you to get down, you ask, why should I get down? The second person must say, this is my stone. When the second person says, this is my stone, the first one who is standing on the stone, raise objection. What is the proof that it is your stone? Who told you that it is your stone? Something like that. Then there will be an ignition for this performance. Later on, we can enjoy the performance. That's what the Guru said. As he was suggesting, one student went and stood up on the stone. Just imagine, it's an enactment. One student went and stood up on the stone. The second student came. Hey, get down. The first one said, why should I get down? Second one said, this is mine. When the second person said, this is mine, the first person who was standing on the stone said, sorry, I didn't know. He got down. You got the story? As anticipated by the teacher, no quarrel happened there. When the second person said, this is my stone, the first one who is standing on the stone said, sorry, I didn't know. He came down from the stone, left it. No quarrel happened. After listening to this story, I am asking you the question, why quarrel did not happen there?
Because of mutual understanding between those two students.
Where was the understanding? You are thinking of match fixing?
No, sir.
There was no match fixing.
Maybe I think, sir, the first person, he said sorry in the beginning itself. So there is no further discussion. There he has given a full stop to that particular incident.
Why did he do so?
He respected his emotional issues.
Why did he say sorry?
He respected his emotion.
He was asked to quarrel.
Sir, accepting the truth and reality.
What is the reality?
Reality is that that stone is not belonged to that student.
But the teacher had given it to him. It is yours. Teacher has given that as a donation, as a gift.
Sir, maybe teacher might have told what will be the consequence if there is a quarrel between two.
No, he had never told. He's an honest teacher. He wanted to make it practical, role play. He had not told.
So quarrel not happened because of the atmospheres.
Oh, beautiful environment, no?
Yes, sir.
If the environment
Environment.
is good, greeneries, good air, good light, fresh air will not make people to quarrel. Only people in the cities will quarrel, na? Any other reason? I tell you the reason. The reason is something called absence of insurable interest. I repeat, absence of insurable interest. What is that insurable interest means? Insurable interest means when you lose something that must be emotionally hurt you. When somebody is snatching something, there must be an emotional disturbance to you. You must feel the loss of something. You must experience that I am missing something, I am losing something. When such an emotional attachment is not there, when you feel that you are not losing anything, you don't worry about it. Just imagine on the street, somebody is beating a boy or a girl. You see that. You are busy to go to your college. You don't stop and inquire, why are you beating this boy? Because that boy is not your boy. Am I reaching? There is no attachment. And more than anything, it is stone. If it was gold, you know, if it was gold, that boy would have thought that I can carry this gold to home. That stone has no value. I think I am reaching you. If I am not, you can ask question. Why people quarrel? People quarrel mainly because of an interest to protect their belongings, their interest to safeguard their insurable interest. Insurable interest means something in which they have an emotional attachment. That issue is missing here.
Hello, Navya. ಅದೇನೋ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Hello.
Anything to say?
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನನು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಂಬರ್
100. Ma'am, Vandana ma'am, please mute your voice.
Interested in that conversation with us. We are not related to that.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, always like that. When something is not connected to you, you don't show interest. You don't try to protect. Likewise, between these boys, quarrel did not happen as they are not having the ownership of that stone. If the ownership is disturbed, if the ownership is at stake, people quarrel. This is what I wanted to say. Therefore, in everyday life, we perceive and experience differences in terms of real or emotional issues. The issue may be just emotional, there may not be truth, but our perception of that emotion may be wrong. As a result, we quarrel. Let me now take you towards the symptoms of conflict. When there is a difference of opinion, how to identify? What makes people to think that there is a conflict? Just imagine, look at this definition of conflict. Conflict is a process in which one person perceives that his interest is opposed or negatively affected by others. When a person thinks that my interest is affected, my interest is negatively affecting and opposed by somebody, then there is an indication of conflict. In our day-to-day life, all the time we experience something where people are opposing us, not agreeing with us, not accepting our proposals, or forcing on our head their views. At that point of time, there will be conflicts. How to recognize that there is a conflict? What are the symptoms of conflicts? I tell you, see, in simple words, where there is a conflict, there will be poor communication. If there is a difference of opinion between individuals, at the first instance we notice communication is not going to be proper. Let it be between students and the teacher, and among the student, among the faculty member, or even family members at home. The first indication of a conflict is stoppage or a disturbance to communication. And the second most visible symptom of a conflict is poor intergroup activity. People will not work together. They don't stay together. They say, sir, give me any work alone, I will do it. But don't ask me to go with that person. Group activities, team activities are affected. And one more symptom of conflict is high rate of absenteeism and turnover. Where there is conflict, misunderstanding, where there is disliking, it will be visible through absenteeism. Absenteeism means abstaining from the working place, abstaining from the classroom. Have you ever made an attempt to know why students abstain from your classes? What could be the reasons for students not attending the classes? These days we say, I don't know, what is your experience? Empty classrooms are the new normal. Empty classrooms are the new normal. Even if you force them to sit in the class, there may be physical bodies. Mentally, they will not be there. What could be the reason? Reasons are, oh, let me not tell the reason. Let me know from your side. What could be the reasons? Come on.
Lack of interest.
Lack of interest.
They may
Or
they
not
may
so
have some
attracted
work.
towards teacher.
They have some work, important work outside.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
As students, they have a work that is important than the work here. Qualify that. They think this is not important. What they are doing outside is important. Okay. Then
Teacher may be very strict, sir.
teacher may be very strict. That's why they are not.
Our teacher is not interesting actually.
What do you mean?
Our teacher is not interesting actually.
Teacher is not interesting. What does it mean? Teacher is not interesting.
Means the way he teaches, it might be a very Sorry.
The way he teaches. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the teacher who is teaching, he might be just giving information, but not interestingly. Or the personality of teacher, it may not be interesting. So,
Right,
as ma'am said, he may be strict too. So they are physically present, but not mentally.
Okay. Teachers are not interesting. How to make the teachers interesting? Another question. How to make the teachers interesting?
It is an individual perspective, or how the teacher interacts with students, or how the teacher put the things in front of students.
Okay,
So it's a behavioral issue.
Okay, I remember in one of the interactions, somebody said, appoint attractive teachers. Who are those attractive teachers? Attractive teachers are those who matches with the expectations of the students. First, you should know what they expect. What do they expect today? Okay, given an opportunity for you to comment on your students today without any prejudice, any bias, if I ask you to describe your students in 1 or 2 sentences, how will you describe them? Am I reaching? My question is clear to you, no? Describe your students
Yes, sir.
in 1 or 2 sentences.
Sir, maybe a rude one, but they're
I never
I can
said.
say like
Why do you say them rude? They are not rude.
what I am saying might sound rude.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, they're interesting fools actually.
Okay.
That one sentence, if you want me to describe students,
Okay, one more sentence.
not all,
Okay.
sir.
One more description.
So all the girl students are very interestingly sit in my class, and few of the boys students will go outside of the class. So that's it, sir.
Okay, this needs an investigation. Okay. Then any other viewpoints? Describe your students in 2 sentences.
Sir, they're already much updated, so we should be more updated than them.
Okay, good. Any more? This speaks of your understanding of your students. Okay. Any more description? Because you are working with them.
Observation of their participants.
They are participative. Students are highly participative. If that is the case, wonderful. I appreciate. Today's students are participative. Students are interested. Girl students are more interested than the boys. Anything more? That means boys are not that inclined to study. These are all the views I am repeating, not mine. Okay, anything more? Anything
Sir,
more?
our students are very intelligent students. Sir.
Students are very intelligent.
Yes.
Sir, they are intelligent, but at the same time, they are emotionally weak.
Emotionally?
Weak.
Okay, emotionally weak. Okay, students are emotionally weak.
Sir, students will come to the class every day with lot of expectations.
But they are not getting it.
At times, yes, no.
When their expectations are very high, believe me, when their expectations are high and they feel that they are not getting, that leads to frustration and that makes them to dislike. That disliking gives them justification for being away from the classes. Even if I go there, what I am going to get? Yes, I am not going to get anything extra by going there. I can stay away. That feeling will make them to be happy, even away. I might have told you, once it had happened to me, one of my first semester students was a chronic absentee. Because of shortage of attendance, we have announced it on the notice board, he is detained from the examination, taking the examination. But he brought a lot of pressure on me to give attendance and to allow him to write the exams. I permitted that person to take up the examination with a warning. This semester, your attendance was so poor. Despite of that, we are giving you a chance to write the exam. Don't do it again. Repeat it again. He did it. After the exams, he came to me with his mark sheet and said, "Sir, I got cleared the exams." I asked him, "What percentage you have secured?" He said, 78%, sir. I told him, without attending the classes also, you did so well in the exams, got 78%. Try to be regular to the classes. It will help you further. He said, "Okay, sir, I will do it." One more semester lapsed. After the second semester results, he never came to me, but I noticed him on the corridors and asked him, "Hey, what happened to your result?" He said, "Sir, I got it, sir." What happened? He said 62, sir. Hey, last time you said something more than 78. How come it is 62 now? He said, this time, sir, I have attended classes now. You got the spirit? You told me to attend the classes, I have attended the classes, but the percentage has come down. That is to say that there is no relationship between attending the classes and scoring in the examination. But because of attending classes, I could not prepare well. If that is the case, students will not appreciate attending the classes. Unless there is value addition, unless they think it is helpful for them, unless they think they are getting something extra there. The peculiar qualities of present day students are, believe me, speed. They want everything fast, quick, ready-made solutions they look for. They don't have the patience to wait. If you make them to wait, you know, they will get disturbed, annoyed, they hate it. But the qualities with the teachers, you know, teachers are slow. I think I am right in saying my saying. That makes a mismatch. That mismatch leads to disliking. That could be the reason for people to sometimes abstain or stay away from the classes. Turnout means discontinue the classes, discontinue the courses. People may abstain or turnover means discontinue. Why? There used to be so many dropouts from several courses. When they realize that completing this course is of no use, they will drop out from the course. Further, if because of somebody's pressure, they are studying, maybe parental pressure, relatives pressure, peers group pressure, they may be continuing not with interest, but for a force that will not make them to be 100% committed to what they are doing. Symptoms of conflict: high rate of absenteeism and turnover. Next symptom, where there is a conflict, you know, there will be promotion of untargeted issues. Untargeted issues means in a group, in a family, in a working environment, in a classroom, where there is a conflict, people will promote unrelated issues, unimportant issues. They will forget the main business, think of the silly, unrelated, unhealthy, needless to elaborate what they are. Okay? They talk about something which is not relevant for them. Promotion of untargeted issues. Where there is a conflict, one more quality that you can notice is informal gatherings. What does it mean? Informal gathering means formal gatherings are departments, formal gatherings are classrooms. Informal gatherings means they themselves will make small groups. These small groups, you know, say for instance, when you announce the shortage of attendance list, you know, all students who are having shortage of attendance will join together. After the results, all failed candidates will join together. Among the staff members, you might have noticed, all those who don't agree with the decision will join together. Informal gatherings to discuss the issues that cannot be discussed officially. You may be knowing there is something called meeting after the meeting. In a formal meeting, if they are not happy, they will go for an informal meeting. Am I reaching? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
In a formal meeting, if they are not happy with the decisions taken, they make an informal meeting afterwards. There they will discuss the issues in detail. Okay, so that informal gatherings. Further consequence: disrespect and indiscipline. Where there is a conflict, there will be disrespect and indiscipline. If the students are not happy with the teacher, they don't like that teacher. Ask who is your favorite teacher. The favorite teacher and their favorite subject goes together, you know. Which is the teacher you hate the most? The teacher I hate the most is the subject I hate the most, you know. What subject is tough for me, what subject difficult for me, that teacher will also become difficult. I think you agree with me. Do you agree?
No, sir.
Indiscipline.
No, sir. Sometimes.
No, sir.
Wonderful. At least I am hearing one no. You don't
Yes,
agree?
sir. No.
Sir, sometimes if I feel mathematics is the tough subject for me, if the teacher teaches me in an interesting way, that subject also will become very interested subject for me, sir.
Every subject can be made interesting. Why it becomes less interesting to somebody? His interest may not be matching with that. As the interests are not matching, something becomes difficult. When the subject is difficult, the teacher also appears to be difficult. Do you appreciate a teacher whose subject you cannot understand? No, not at all.
No, sir. Sir, here I would like to add one more point.
Please.
Sir, at times those students will come with an expectation, or they will be intelligent, or they will be in high speed, where we, the teachers, are a little slow. But even I have found that a trait or characteristics like they will get bored soon.
Yes.
Though in a very interesting manner we present it, they feel that, okay, I know now, it's okay. Now I'm not interested to know more about that. So they will get fatigue or bored soon, sir.
The reason
So
for that
what
is,
to say about this?
the reason for that, one more reason for that is, they think about the alternative source of getting that. Why it becomes fatigued or bored means, they have an alternative on hand, thinking that if not here, I will get it somewhere. Somebody said students are more intelligent than us. Where they are intelligent? They are intelligent in gathering information, not knowledge. But they got confused with these two. They think this information is available on the net. And many a time they say, teachers are telling what we have already seen on the net. Believe me, teachers are not creators. Teachers cannot make things to fall from the heaven. They can interpret the realities around them only. But these students immediately think, I have seen it yesterday's TV. Yesterday television, I have given that information, no doubt. That must be interpreted. There is a difference between knowledge and information, wealth and money. But students of today measure everything in terms of money. They think, what is the use of knowing this? Can you follow me? It is of no significance, no relevance for me. The moment you think, do you know why anything becomes boring? Boredom is a situation where the content of the presentation may be interesting, but the individual's perception suffers from fatigue, disliking. Disliking and disinterest are two different things. He is disliking to listen at that point of time because he thinks I can do it tomorrow. Because their priorities are different. What are their priorities? Believe me, immediately you tell them the same thing will be given in the examination, they will become interesting. Right? Tell them the same question I'm going to ask you in the examination, they will become curious. What makes things curious? Their probable usage, probable benefits that makes anything to be useful. Why those boys in front of the Gurukula did not bother about that stone, you know? Future usage is less. If it was gold, they would have preserved it. Same is the case with our students. If you say that this is important for your next admission, next job, many a time our students will ask, sir, if we pass these exams, what is the guarantee that we get the job? Nobody can give you that guarantee. Because there is a relationship between this degree and the job that they are looking for. Why are you coming for study? Clear objective. Their objective is to get a degree. What for? I think I'm reaching you. Therefore, here the point is, students, though they are interested, though they are intelligent enough to understand, they may not open up their mind. Human mind works like a parachute. It works only when it is opened, free from prejudice, free from bias. When you hate the speaker, you dislike the presentation. When you don't like the teacher, the subject will become disinterested. Why you are disinterested in the subject? You think it is of no use for me. Why should I bother about this? So that these are all interconnected issues that makes people to develop disliking. In other words, disrespect, negative feeling. The moment you say work hard, what do I get out of that? Why should I do that? What is the benefit? Things like that. Followed by that, strict implementation of rules and regulation. When there is disliking, when there is hatredness, when they are not cooperating, people on the other side will use rules and regulation to control them. When the students are not listening, I said empty classrooms are normal. To make them come to the class, what we do? We create fear in them by showing the attendance register. We create fear in them by talking about internal assessment marks. That is what strict implementation of rules and regulation. In an office atmosphere, when do managers or bosses give notice, circular, memo? When the human relations fail. When the human relations fails, people will resort to rules and regulations. That is the worst situation in any relationship. As a result, there will be non-productive discussions in the group or in the organizations. When there is a conflict, we discuss unnecessarily irrelevant, unproductive topics. Even in the classrooms, if I spend 50% of my time to advise the people, to criticize the people, to make comments about their misbehavior, there you cannot expect productivity. But it becomes inevitable. Many a time, you cannot do your main business because of the other pressures. I told you in the beginning, 60% of a leader's time is spent for handling conflicts and talking about discipline only. Where is productivity then? If you spend most of your time to bring the class into order, how can you deliver effective lectures? I'm right in my saying. Okay, am I boring?
No, sir.
Information. What
No,
is
sir. No, sir.
Okay, let us now look into the reasons for conflict. Why conflict occurs? Look at this picture. They're asking, why should we quarrel? By looking at the first picture, you said they have quarrel and they dislike each other, they have a dispute. Now, these two pets are very happy to be together. They are asking a question. Tell us, why should we quarrel? I'm asking the same question to you. Why people quarrel? Why do people quarrel?
Sir, people quarrel because of their inbuilt some characters.
Inbuilt character.
Like I would like to add to sir's point, like ego.
Misunderstanding. Sometimes environmental factor is also used to where he is.
Yes.
Sometimes environmental factors. Environmental factors. Yes, surrounding conditions.
Surroundings.
Sir, quarreling is. Hello.
Please go ahead.
Sir, Quarreling is a hobby for some people, sir.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that.
Sir, even at times gender also play a role, sir.
Gender also play a role. Okay.
Sir, to have a
I'm
dominant
not going
power
to
over
ask
other.
which gender people quarrel more. It is subjective. It is subjective. Okay. Anything more?
Sir,
Sir.
there are some intellectual conflict.
Okay. Intellectual quarrels. Okay. Intellectual quarrels.
Sir, to have a
Hello?
dominant power over other.
Okay. To have dominance over others.
So they are not ready to accept the opponent as
views of others. Wonderful. When you are not
Sir.
able to accept the views of others, that leads to quarrel. Good. Okay, now let us see what are the reasons for quarrel. Okay. The first and the most important reason for quarreling, disturbance, conflict, incompatible goals. What do you mean by incompatible goals? The goals that you have set, the targets that you have set are not practical, are not achievable. You should set the targets in a way that they are attainable by everybody by knowing their capacity. When the individual thinks that you have given a task which is impossible to achieve, then they will develop disliking. That disliking leads to conflict. Say, for instance, every parent expects their son or daughter to get a first rank, but there will be only one first rank for a class. But every parent expects that. Every teacher expects the student to be hardworking and to be a winner. Chances of winning are few. As a result, what happens? People will think, this is beyond my capacity. I cannot achieve this. When you set an unachievable target, that itself demoralizes people and that makes people to quarrel, question. Am I reaching? Can you follow me? The next important reason for conflict, the next most important reason for conflict is interdependence. Interdependence. Conflict can happen only between the related people, not unrelated. If the dependency is too much, possibility of conflicts are also too much. You don't quarrel with a stranger, When I showed the first picture, somebody said they are strangers. If they are strangers, no problem at all. We quarrel only with the known personalities. We quarrel with only those we expect something. If our expectations are zero, there will not be quarrel at all. Do you know whom you hate the most? Whom do you hate? My question is clear to you. Whom do you hate the most? It is the one who you love the most. You hate the most the person whom you love the most. Why are you hating? The person now is not in the way that you have expected him, that you have predicted him, that you have anticipated from him. I think I'm right in my saying. You thought that he is the person who is coming to your help. You thought that this person is of greater cooperation, coordination, support, but that has not happened. That makes you to think negatively. You thought a student is going to be intelligent, hardworking, sincere, obedient, but he is not. When he is not, that makes you to think negatively about it. Same is the case even in life, even in politics. Strong enemies are those who are one time strong friends. Look at the international relationships also. You don't quarrel with a country which is far away from you. You quarrel with the country that shares border. I think I'm on the track. I'm reaching you. Say yes or no. Can you follow me?
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Why there used to be conflicts? Another reason is scarce resources. In reality, our requirements are more, but the resources are limited. There is only one position, only one job, one post. Many people try for that. As a result, conflict. Followed by that, goal and role ambiguity. Why people have conflicts? Goal ambiguity and role ambiguity. Goal ambiguity means what to achieve first. Role ambiguity means, am I giving justice for the role that I have taken? Even in my last class, I said, when a colleague of yours become the principal of the college, when your close friend become the principal of the college, till yesterday he was with you. He was also coming late to the college, but today he is the principal. He has to ensure punctuality. When he speaks to you about punctuality, then you make a comment. Till yesterday he was like everybody. Now he thinks as if he is big. Am I right? Followed by that, reasons for conflict, personality clash. No two persons are identical. One is talkative, aggressive, other one is sober. One is honest, other one is dishonest. One is intelligent, other one is dull. When such people encounter each other, that leads to conflict. What you believe, what the other person believes, are two different things. That makes you to have conflict. Personality clash. Differences in values. Values are the strong beliefs. In what you believe and the other person believes, if they are same, you will become friends. When there is a mismatch, that leads to conflict. Differences in perception. Perception makes our world. Am I right? Perception makes our world. World is the same, but it appears to be different to different people. The reason is perception. I don't know, I have told you or not. Have you seen the full moon on the full moon day and identify the picture on the full moon anytime? Can you recall what picture you have seen on the full moon?
Rabbit.
Rabbit, wonderful.
I told the rabbit, but my daughter told it is a man with cycle.
Man with cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
How old is she?
When she was 4 years old, that time she told. Now she is pursuing her post-graduation.
Okay, now she is doing post-graduation. Now she will tell you something other than that.
Yeah.
Okay. How about others? Have you seen any picture on the full moon surface? Rabbit, bicycle?
She is riding cycle, that time she has that perception.
Sir, I find some picture but meaningless, sir.
Meaningless pictures. Too many things to decide. Don't be indecisive. Be firm. Look at the things with a decided mind. You will see that. There is a popular saying, moon is the inspiration for everybody on the earth. Almost all the poets in all the languages across the globe got moon as the inspiration. But somebody called moon he, somebody called moon she, but all of us know it is neither he nor she. But while you are looking at the moon, think of the picture of somebody whom you deeply like, love. Okay, definitely you will see that picture on the moon. Why somebody called he or she, while writing a poet with a poetic mindset, a poet with a poetic mindset, if you look at the moon and remember somebody, that picture will appear. Somebody may call it she, He calls it Chandramukhi. Somebody calls it he, Chandamama. It is neither Mama nor Chandramukhi. It is your perception that makes. Just think of a situation. If a poet sits and looks at it, he will find he or she and see the picture of somebody. If you think of Mahatma Gandhi's picture will come. Mother Teresa's picture will come. Any popular cine actor or actress, that will come, no doubt. Take a person with empty stomach who has not given any food for last 1 week. On the full moon day, make him to look at the moon and describe the moon, how he describes. For a hungry man, a full moon
Looks
is
like a bun. Table bun.
Sidogiro roti. Right? Sikulu roti antivala. World is like that. World is like that. It is your mind that makes. There is nothing like good and bad in this world. It is what the mind makes. Perception is the reason for all quarrel. When two persons are talking, the third person may think they are talking about me only. When these two persons are laughing, they think, oh, the topic for that laugh is me only. It is your perception. Am I right? So that it is the perception that is responsible for people to have conflicts. Further, communication problem. About 60% of conflict occurs because of communication problem only. They don't know what to say when, how to say, how much to say. Improper communication, wrong communications leads to misunderstandings, conflicts. And the last one is mistrust, lack of trust. When you don't trust anybody, whatever they do will be suspected. Where there is too much of suspicion, conflicts will emerge automatically. I will take you towards the next topic, types of conflicts. There are different types of conflicts. I tell you precisely what are they, based on the source, based on the reason for these conflicts. First one is structural conflict. A structural conflict arises because of the functions that you are supposed to discharge, goals and authority given to you, time factor, status, and the resources. Time, say for instance, as a teacher, you are asked to do election duty. As a teacher, you are asked to go for census duty. As a teacher, you have to do lot many duties. At the same time, you are expected to discharge your teacher's duty. Conflict. Say for instance, you have to play different roles in life. As a teacher, you are expected to discharge the duty of a mother, a father, a daughter-in-law, a wife, husband. These different functions that an individual performs makes him to get disturbed. That disturbance leads to conflict. They will ask, tell me what shall I do? That or this. Time factor. Most of the time, we experience shortage of time because of our inability to manage time. When two things are to be done at a time, that leads to conflict. You ask, what can I do? Shall I go to the class or shall I prepare the timetable? What shall I do? Conflict. Followed by that, intrapersonal conflict. Intrapersonal conflict means, as the word itself says, conflict between two individuals. Reasons I have already explained. As two persons are different in their expectations, emotions, likings and dislikes, naturally conflicts will happen between these two individuals. It is the natural type of conflict. Two individuals will quarrel because of their difference in perception, differences in understanding, things like that. The third type of conflict that I am telling, intrapersonal conflict. Intrapersonal conflict. Think a little about this. What is intrapersonal conflict? Intrapersonal conflict means conflict within an individual himself. This is the worst kind of conflict. It's a situation wherein an individual has two fighting viewpoints within himself that compete against each other, makes his mind to become a war field, a battlefield, wherein he becomes indecisive, disturbed psychologically, not able to come to a conclusion. See, in the beginning, when you do anything, it's quite natural. You will be in a dilemma whether to do that or do this. You must arrive at a conclusion as quickly as possible. If the dilemma is continued for a long time, if you suffer from arriving at a conclusion for a long time, to do or not to do, to go or not to go, to listen or not to listen, believe me, when you are listening to my lecture, you must decide to listen or not to listen. If you listen without a clear acceptance by yourself, in dual mentality, that leads to headache. It will not allow you to understand anything. Even in life, many a time, internally we suffer from a conflict of two different viewpoints, two different options, whether to do or not to do or not to do. If this is not addressed early, that leads to depression, that leads to frustration, that makes the person to become gullible, pessimist, suicidal tendencies. Am I reaching you? Therefore, intrapersonal conflicts need to be addressed as early as possible. Followed by that, intergroup conflict. Intergroup conflict means conflict between two groups, like two political parties, two countries, two armies, two teams may quarrel. This is also quite natural conflict. Two groups will conflict. The last type of conflict that I am telling is intra-group conflict. Intra-group conflict means conflict within the group itself. Two families will quarrel, that can be sorted out easily. But within the family members quarrel. Within the team members quarrel. Inside the nation, the nationals quarrel. This is called intra-group conflict. These conflicts are to be set aside properly, otherwise they will become disturbance to productivity and relations in a group. Somebody said the reasons for the conflict in the beginning, the most important reason is the ego. I tell you very quickly, because these are all very important issues. Ego. What do you mean by ego? Is ego a negative expression? No.
No, sir.
Every one of us must have an ego. But that ego, when does not match with the ego of others, a mismatch between the ego makes people to have conflict. What is this ego means? I'm quickly telling everything in a capsule form. What does this ego means? Ego is the psychological state of an individual which guide the way of feeling, thinking, and behavior of that person. Why he thinks like that? For the purpose of understanding ego, you can classify the human mind into three levels. Three levels. What are these three levels? It is called id, ego, and superego. Id, ego, and superego. What does id means? Look at this. I've simplified this. Id means a child's mind. When the id dominates an individual, that individual thinks like a child. What are the characteristics of a child? A child is naturally curious. A child is naturally dependent. A child is unorganized. A child always likes pleasure, avoids pain. A child always looks for enjoyment, not disturbances. This is a child's mind. Another ego level, we call it ego or adult ego. Adult ego. Child ego, adult ego. Adult ego means a person whose mind is dominated by this ego makes him to behave like an adult. Now think of the characteristics of an adult. I tell you precisely. An adult is one who thinks that he knows everything. He is capable of making right and wrong choices. He is independent. He don't require anybody's advice, suggestions, solutions. He is always right. That's what the adult feeling, Followed by this, superego. Id is a child, ego is an adult, superego. Superego makes the person to think like a parent. Now you can think of the characteristics of a parent. Parents are normally controlling, advising, guiding, restricting, prescribing, commenting, protecting. These are the characteristics of a parent. Just imagine there are two persons. One person thinks as a parent. His mind is dominated by parent ego. Another person is here whose mind is dominated by a child ego. Can you follow me? When the person with a parent ego speaks to another person with a child ego, there is no problem. Because child normally thinks that I'm a child, I don't know anything, somebody must help me. Here is a parent who thinks I must advise the child because the child is helpless, I must help the child. Problem is solved. Parent to child, problem is solved. Instead of a child, if a parent encounter an adult, what happens? Parent go for advising, parent go for suggesting, parent go for prescribing and controlling. Whereas the adult thinks, I know everything. I don't want anybody to advise me. I'm right. Believe me, the problem that the college teachers encounter is this. You speak to your student as a parent, but the student looks at you with an adult mind. Are the grown-ups? Are the kids? They are in the transition. College students, they are in the transition time. They are neither kids nor grown-ups. If you address them as kids, they will become angry. What do they think of me? Right? I know all these things. If you accept them as grown-ups, they are immature. I think I'm right in my word, the word that I'm using. They are not that mature. Allow them free, thinking that they are grown-ups. They will commit 100 mistakes. Give them freedom, thinking that they are mature. They commit mistakes. Go for advice, they don't like it. You will be knowing what is advice. Even in my last class, I said, advice is something that the fools won't take and the wise won't need. Nobody likes advising people. Many a time, they bunk your class because they think you give too much of advices. If you give too much of advice, nobody likes it because they think they know everything. This is the situation in everyday life. If both are kids, no problem, childish. One child talk to another child, no problem. Childish characters. Just imagine one child says something. Hey, just think of a situation if there are no schools, how beautiful it is. Another child says, that makes me to remember the lockdown period. Lockdown period was good. One child says to another child, lockdown was good, no classes, we enjoyed. If the same thing is presented in front of an adult will say, How dare you say that lockdown was good by bunking the classes? Without studying, how can we be happy? Do you know how much difficulty the world experienced because of loss of job, loss of income, loss of the beloved ones? He will become practical. If two parents are talking, no problem. Both are of the same mind. Just imagine a conversation between two teachers. If two teachers are talking, they will say, today's students, they are very careless. Listen to the conversation between two students. They say, teachers, there is no work for them. I don't know why they are getting so much of salary. To adult, no problem. Child to child, no problem. Parent to parent, no problem. When there is a clash, that leads to conflict, that leads to misunderstanding. I think you are getting my point. I will go to the next immediate things. Many a time, the reason for this is also something called life position in psychology. What is this life position? Life position means an individual's assumption about himself and the society. Psychologically, there are 4 different types of life positions that makes an individual to think differently based on his understanding of himself and his understanding of the society. The following are the 4 important situations. One is, I am okay, you are not okay. Second one, I am not okay, you are okay. I am not okay, you are not okay. I am okay, you are okay. If the individual has an assumption that I am okay, you are also okay, no problem. They respect each other. My point, I agree, and your point is also right. Let us discuss. Respect each other. I am not okay, you are not okay. This is a pessimistic approach to life. I am also not okay, you are also not okay. Even you are wrong, I am wrong. World is wrong. There is no hope. This type of people are pessimists and they think always negatively. Even that will solve the problem negatively. I am not okay, you are okay. When an individual thinks you are okay, I am not okay, he comes with an open mind to learn, listen to your commands and advices. They respect you because he is surrendering himself before you, saying that I am not okay, you are okay. The first one, I am okay, you are not okay. This is a situation where the individual suffers from a psychological ego that I am always right, always you are wrong. He underestimates others. He thinks he is superior and others are inferior. That leads to conflict. Now the question is how to sort out this conflict. I run through. By putting a wall between quarreling people, you cannot solve the problem. If there is a wall, conflict will increase. If there is a fence, conflict will increase. That must be sorted out. To sort out the problem, you must understand the reason why. Where is the problem? Who is responsible? In a classroom or in a working environment, you should identify the person with the problem. Who is that person with the problem? Sometimes you yourself may be the problem for others. Many a time we think others are the problem. We may be the problem for people. We must understand to what extent we are problematic to others. For that purpose, when there is a problem, go for negotiation, consultation, discussion with the people. This consultation and discussions will help us to sort out the problematic situation. In a negotiation, if it is with the dedicated free mind, both the parties after the negotiation must think that both of us won the situation. A win-win situation is one where both the parties are satisfied with the conclusion. To do that, a leader must arrange for proper negotiation. You will be knowing always it is not that easy. It is really difficult to handle people. There are different types of people. I will run through very quickly. What are the different types of people you encounter in life? hostile and aggressive people. Hostile and aggressive people are those who don't allow you to complete your words. They make an attack on you. They are always attacking. They enjoy by attacking on others. They come with a shouting voice, shout at you, attacks you on your personal issues, and they will become hostile in their approach. Another type of people, complainers. They are the people who always make complaints about others, criticisms about others, insults and humiliate others by making comments. They are called complainers. And one more category of people, we call them clams. Clams are comedians. These are the people who always make fun of others. If you are serious, they take it casually and make fun. In a classroom, just imagine if you are if you are delivering a lecture very seriously, somebody is laughing in the last bench, how do you feel? They are like the clowns and they are like the comedians, they create a problem. And one more type of people are there, we call them super agreeable. These are the people who don't question anything, who don't comment on anything. Before you say anything, they say, you are right, sir, you are right, sir, you are right, sir. Even this type of people are of no use. When there is no disturbance, obstacle, there cannot be reflections. To have reflection, there must be an obstacle. To know that you are right or wrong, there must be somebody to comment. That somebody who is commenting must not be always negative. There may be negative people who always say, you cannot, you will not, you are not able to do that. That type of people. Another category of people are there who behave as if they know everything. They know everything. These people are to be addressed. And one more type of people are there, we call them balloons. They are the people who are pampered by others. Because of the pampering that they got, they expect the same everywhere. They try to superimpose themselves thinking that they know somebody who pampered them. Always, that is not possible. And one more category of people are those, they are the indecisive scholars. These people cannot take a decision quickly. They always postpone the decision. Because of the postponement, adjournments that they have made, things will get delayed. That delaying causes disturbance in the group or in the organization or in the family. How to sort it out? Now I am coming with solutions for conflicts. Just recall the reasons for the conflicts. Now I am telling the answers for those conflicts. If the conflict is because of shortage of resources, scarce resources, increase the resource if it is in your hand. If the conflict is because of unfair treatment of people, partiality of the leader, reduce differentiation. Treat everybody equally. Treat everybody in the same yardstick. Then there will not be conflict. If the conflict is because of too much of dependency, reduce interdependency. A good leader is one who creates an ambience where things will go naturally even in his absence. Even if I am not there, things must go properly. That attitude makes people good leaders, and that environment will not have conflicts at all. And if the conflicts are because of communication, improve the communication. Talk to people properly. Change your style of conversation. Change your style of asking, talking, questioning. That will solve the conflicting situation. And if the conflicts are because of the incompatible goals, set proper goals. Proper goal setting, give them the task that is achievable, humanly possible. Don't expect them to work too much. Why some students drop out from the classes? Because of the target that we give. It is too much. They cannot complete in time. If there is confusion, clarify the rules. Clarify the confusions, clear the doubts. That will make things better and conflicts can be eradicated. Further, and in 1 minute I will be completing, don't worry. Conflict can be stopped through 5 different approaches. What are the 5 different approaches with which you can sort out conflict? Basically, there are 2 approaches. One is a cooperative approach, other one is an assertive approach. Assertive approach means raising your voice and saying, I can also quarrel with you. Cooperative approach means helping them. What are they? See here, conflict can be, believe me, you cannot think of a situation, where there is zero conflict. Because wherever there are people, conflicts will be there. Conflicts bound to take place. If there is no conflict, that's a deadly situation. Not having opposition is like a dead situation. There must be critics. There must be people to comment on us. But too much of that will spoil the functioning of anything. You cannot remove conflict 100%, but you can minimize them, reduce them. How can we do so? I told you there are 5 different ways to avoid conflict. What are they? First one is avoid them if it is possible. Better not to have conflict. Avoid the conflict. This is the most accepted way at the cooperative and assertive level, 0 level on the graph sheet. If you can avoid conflict, avoid it. That is the easiest way. The cooperative way, accommodate the conflict. If somebody is coming with a comment, criticism, tell him, oh, you are right. Okay, no problem. No problem. Accept it. Accommodation is accepting the conflict. Allow the person to enjoy. Okay, you are right. Go ahead. No problem. I tell you, I must tell you one small story and conclude this avoiding and things like that. Once it had happened to me some 20 years back, not now, 20 years back, I was in a hurry to come to the class. I was riding my 2-wheeler. In one of the signals, somebody who have jumped the signal light was about to hit my 2-wheeler. I was also in a hurry come to the class. I looked at that person face to face and raised my hand and said, hey, nodkand barakagalva. Can't you see and come? That was the word I said. I came towards my college. I didn't know that somebody is chasing me. Immediately I was late, I came and parked in my vehicle, went into the classroom. I finished the class after 1.5 hours. When I came out of the class, there was a person waiting for me. And he called me, hey, come here. I said, who are you? He asked me, what you said there? Where? You said something near the signal light. Where? It was at 10 o'clock. When I was crossing the signal light, you raised your hand and said something. I don't know who are you. Hey, even I don't know who are you. He said, you raised your hand and said something. What is that? I said, sorry, I didn't know what I said. He reconstructed the picture and made me to remember that near the signal light, he was about to hit me. I raised my hand and said, nodkand barakagalva. Oh, I said, oh, ada, naan heliddu nodkand barakagalva anta. Then that person said, naan nodta idde kano, neen nodilla. Then I said, hauda, ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. I am sorry. Then that person said, ಇದೊಂದು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಲ್ತ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಸಾರಿ ಕೇಳೋದನ್ನ. ಸಾರಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. There ends the problem. After 1.5 hours, what that person got? A sense of pride, a sense of winning that I made this person to say sorry. What did I lost? Many a time, big problems can be sorted out with a simple smile. Smile is so powerful, it can solve any problem, sharper than a knife. But we should know when to smile. Many a time, the smile sometimes leads to misinterpretations and problems. But a smile is very powerful. We can avoid conflicts. Accommodation, collaboration is another way. Join hands. If it is for good cause, agree, no problem. You are not going to lose anything. Collaborate. If it is inevitable, stand up and say, I can also fight. That is what competition. See, avoidance, accommodation, collaboration, competition, and compromise are the 5 different ways through which we can sort out the conflict. This is all about conflict and conflict resolution. If you have questions, please ask. Once again, today I have taken much of your time. If there are doubts, comments, criticisms, don't go with unexpressed feeling. Express it so that internal conflicts can be avoided. Intra-personal conflicts can be avoided. Okay, any comments? You are welcome. Please, questions idea another?
Sir.
Avoid ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಾ, accommodate ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಾ?
Sir, according to me, one of the reasons for quarrel is humans' super memory, sir. I think so.
Super memory influences your perception.
Yes, sir.
See, memory from where it comes. Memory is also about cherishing something, recalling something. That too much of memory construct a different picture before you. That's the reason for that. Loss of memory also sometimes leads to conflict, you know. ಯಾಕೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮರ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೋಪ ಬರಲ್ವಾ?
That memory should be in a limit, sir. It is better.
Everything must be in a balanced way.
Yes, sir.
Too much of anything is not good. Right? Whether it is memory or loss of memory, forgiveness or forgettingness, it must not be too much. Yes. ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು.
ನಾಳೆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್?
ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಿ ಮಾತು.
ಹೌದೌದು ಸರ್.
ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಈಗ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂತ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಷನ್ 2 o'clock ಶುರು ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್. ಊಟ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್.
ನಾಳೆ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ.
ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That will be better. I think. We can have more interaction, discussion.
Then I will take you towards emotional intelligence. See you tomorrow.
Okay,
thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.